First at 4, it is a forewarned weather alert day. We are tracking the risk of severe weather, flooding concerns, and hail. What you need to know to keep your family safe. The UAW sending another message to automakers. You are going to hear from the union's president about what this picket practice is all about. And here's Paula.
Born with only 3/4 of a heart and one lung, while most kids hope for a fun year at school, this little girl hopes for a heart so she can go to school.
I also don't have really many friends to talk to.
What her parents want to tell other parents.
Local 4 News starts now with a forewarned weather alert.
First at 4, did you get zapped by the storms that rolled through Metro Detroit earlier? If not, beware. More rain is coming. This video comes from Chesterfield Township in a subdivision near 23 Mile and Gratiot. Right now, some of you might be in that calm between the storms. This is a live look at the situation in Southfield right now. And moving east, this is what Mount Clemens looks like right now. We have declared a weather alert day to make sure that you're paying attention and also getting prepared. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Karen Drew along with Brian Sherman, and we are tracking a round of storms today that obviously is going to be hitting throughout different spots of Metro Detroit.
Yeah, earlier this morning, multiple severe thunderstorm warnings, hail, and as you saw there, flooding to extremely heavy rainfall. That trend continues tonight as well, but now we start to bring in that excessive heat concern as we head into our Thursday. Just into the 4-1 Weather Center, the National Weather Service has now issued a heat advisory that goes from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Thursday for Washtenaw, Wayne, Monroe, and Lenawee counties, as these areas could see heat index values up to 105 degrees as we head into our Thursday. This evening, Exact Track 40 radar, clean sweep for the moment, although we do have a line of thunderstorms that's moving across the lake over into Canada. That will move off to the east, so I think we stay dry for at least the next 2 to 3 hours. You can really start to pick out where that warm front's moving through with all the moisture. 66 right now, Sandusky, 76 at City Airport, 75 at Metro Airport, but it's 90 in Adrian. This is the heat. This is the humidity that will move into the region as we go throughout the day on Thursday. So for tonight, we are going to keep the chance of thunderstorms into the forecast late tonight, especially from midnight on. We drop only into the 70s overnight tonight, but we've got some refreshing changes on the way as we look ahead into the weekend. I'll break down what you can expect in your complete forewarned forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Karen.
All right, we appreciate it, Brian. Thank you so very much. And of course, we always are ready to download that app and keep yourself updated. It's really easy for those accurate forecasts for your neighborhood. Well, we are starting to learn more about the bizarre kidnapping of twin boys from a Livonia hotel earlier this week. 4 people have been arrested and are expected in court soon. The 14-day-old infants were taken from a Quality Inn in Livonia. The Amber Alert was issued, and hours later, someone brought the children safely to the 9th Precinct in Detroit. The 4 people arrested range in age from 16 to 23 years old. We're still learning details about who they are, but we are told they are not related to the victims. Sean Lay tracking the investigation. He will have an update for us when you join us tonight at 5. Wayne County prosecutors have charged a 26-year-old man in the fatal shooting of his 8-year-old stepson. They say Armani Robinson left an unsecured handgun in a backpack in a home on Ward Street in Detroit. The little boy found the gun Saturday night and then shot himself in the head. Robinson is charged with involuntary manslaughter, second-degree child abuse, and tampering with evidence. The judge called Robinson a danger to society and set a cash bond of $250,000. The defendant did make a special request during the hearing, and you're going to hear more about that request on Local 4 News at 5. A 28-year-old Romulus man has been charged in the crash that killed the wife of the CEO over at Eastern Market. Jacob Morlick was in court this afternoon to face a few charges, including operating while intoxicated, causing death. Prosecutors say he was intoxicated last Friday, drove onto the sidewalk at Lafayette and St. Aubin, hitting Dan and Vivian Carmody while they were walking to dinner. Vivian later died. Her husband now is recovering. This afternoon, the judge did set a $250,000 cash bond, but there will be a hearing to review that decision on Friday. UAW gearing up for a possible strike if contract talks with America's big auto companies don't go well. The union's president, Shawn Fain, was across the street from Stellantis' Detroit Assembly Complex this afternoon. He was conducting a practice picket. The union is holding a strike authorization vote as the clock is ticking on the current contract. Maine has been sending a consistent message. The union is ready to fight for what it wants.
They want you to accept that it's okay for them to make billions and for the CEOs to make millions and for you to scrape to get by paycheck to paycheck. It's not right, and we're sure as hell not going to stand for it anymore.
Union's contracts with Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis expire on September 14th. We've got breaking news from Russia, where a private jet has crashed, killing all 10 people on board. Mercenary chief Prigozhin was on the passenger list, but it's not immediately clear if he was actually on the plane. You may remember he mounted a brief mutiny against Russia's military leadership in late June. At first, he was reportedly exiled to Belarus, but has reportedly been seen in Russia. We're following this closely. We'll keep you posted as more information becomes available. Ready or not, the 2024 presidential campaign kicks off with a Republican debate, and that happens in just a few hours. 8 candidates who met the criteria for fundraising and polling were invited to the stage in Milwaukee. They've also signed a pledge to support the eventual nominee. North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum may not be able to stand up at the debate. He went to the ER on Tuesday after a basketball injury. For much of America, this is their first chance to evaluate these contenders. The debate is tonight at 9 o'clock on Fox News. Former President Donald Trump decided to skip that debate. He is expected to turn himself in tomorrow to face criminal charges in Georgia. Trump and 18 others face a variety of charges, accused of trying to overturn the presidential results in Georgia in 2020. Former New York mayor and Trump attorney Rudy Giuliani is turning himself in today. Cameras caught him leaving his home in New York. Giuliani maintains his innocence and says he never thought he'd been indicted for being a lawyer. Back to school season is bittersweet for many people, and for one local 9th grader and her family, this is really true. There's excitement for the future, but also a sense of standing still. Paula Teltman is in Auburn Hills this afternoon with the story of what the last days of summer vacation are like when you have a broken heart. Tell us more, Paula.
Yeah, absolutely. And these two piles really do tell the story, because this is the Todd's living room. And you can see this pile is for Quentin, who starts Wayne State University tomorrow. This pile is for Kendall. And this is everything she needs at the snap of the finger if she gets that phone call. 18-year-old Quentin is loading up for college. Pillows, bedding, clothes, snacks, everything a freshman needs to start a new adventure. For his best friend, who also happens to be his 14-year-old sister, her usual spot is at her laptop on the dining room table, preparing for the 9th grade.
I did have a lot of friends when I was in school, but now that I'm online, I didn't have many friends to talk to.
Born with a broken heart and a single lung, Kendall Todd has defied all odds to even get to 14 years old.
We were told she wasn't going to make it in the beginning, so we still had hope.
And now she needs a heart transplant to get her the rest of the way.
She's had 4 open heart surgeries. She had a stroke. She had a cardiac arrest for 45 minutes that we witnessed.
And until she gets one, this is her classroom.
I'm going on this new chapter in my life, but she's still...
I'm very excited that he's going to school, but I'm also kind of sad that I didn't get to go into school.
It is difficult for the family to ask strangers to become organ donors, but they say they must. They must break through the fear and the misinformation to get others to understand that in the event of the unthinkable, a life tragically and suddenly lost can at the same time become a life continued. But the decision has to be made before it's needed.
I'm just hoping that our story and the stories that's been done previous, that people can just realize, life is short. But then again, if I can, continue or, give the gift of life to someone else, that's a blessing, but to a child too.
So this year they lived their lives in a split screen of sorts as school begins. One child off to college to study neuroscience on his way to become a doctor, the other almost in suspended animation, whose new adventure can only begin with a new heart to replace her broken one.
We're not mad at anybody. We're not mad at God. We're not mad, why did this happen? Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, you know, I do want to mention older sister Sydney also in this mix, but also Kendall and her mom have written several books. Mom just gave me the website, and I'm going to send it over to clickondetroit.com so you can find it. Kendall is talking about what it's like to be in and out of the hospital and to survive trauma. Mom also talking about how to survive these kinds of struggles. But the big story, Karen, is for people to really have these conversations, sign the back of their license or their tax returns, and become organ donors.
Obviously, as we said, it can save a life. It's so, so important. We'll be thinking about Kendall as she starts her new school year. Thanks, Paula.